Hey guys, and welcome back to Quality Shot Football and another podcast as well that we're going to be going through. Well, some matches because apparently there's been a lot of postponements. Not apparently, there have been a lot of postponements because of the Queen passing away, of course. God rest her soul. But we're going to go into football and a lot of results from at least Europe, Champions League. So there's some big results. There's some matches actually going on as we're speaking right now. So we won't give you spoilers if you're watching it, although you're probably going to watch it later anyways. It doesn't matter. But matches on the weekend, there are some matches. It seems like we've just calculated that the matches that aren't taking place are London-based matches where the team's playing at home, basically. So there are going to be some Premier League matches going on. So we'll go into that as well. Before we do, though, remember to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, leave a rating review. Ash, Ali, Arangan, are you all well? I think just nod your heads because I feel like everyone just nods anyway. Yeah,
No, I'm good. We're good.
Three nods? Good, okay. Arangan was a very slow nod, so I'm going to say he's not as happy as everyone else at the moment. Right, okay. We can start off then with, I guess we can have a quick look at the table for the Premier League and I guess the season so far. And Arangan will be happy to talk about this because Arsenal are on top of the league and they have lost a match to Manchester United in the last match, of course. But apart from that, it's been pretty plain sailing. So we can start with you, Arangan, and we'll quickly touch upon the table as well. So Arsenal, I mean, must be pretty happy or disappointed in, of course, winning against Manchester United and completely, replicate the Invincibles season, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was going to happen at one point. Just really annoying that it happened to United because they went and lost their next game anyway. Yeah, it was a good performance. They're playing well under Ten Hag. I think what the key thing for us was to get that win in midweek afterwards. The Arsenal of old would have gone into like a vicious spiral and started losing a bunch of games. But I think it's still a lot of positives. We're still top, even if it is by a point. And Arteta's got a good group, and they're moving kind of in a positive direction. That's the type of game that we'd have lost like 3 or 4-0 last season. So you can only take positives from it.
Yeah, agreed. I think they're playing pretty well, and normally it's at the start of the season, everyone's like, "Oh, Arsenal are top," because alphabetically they're at the top. But actually, they're managing to carry that form through, which is good. And I think we talked about them. They're going to be there or thereabouts, top 4. Should be pushing definitely for the top 4. And I don't know, who knows? I mean, I know we're not saying that they're going to be title contenders, but stranger things have happened. Leicester won the Premier League not too long ago. So you know what? Anything can happen. It's football. What a cliche. Apart from that, then, so Chelsea at 6. So Ash, I'll get your quick view on that. I mean, what have you thought so far? I mean, we're on 10 points, 5 behind the leader. That is Arsenal. But we're above Liverpool, so happy days. So how are you feeling, Ash?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we've necessarily played even well enough to warrant being 6. So I'll definitely take it. And only being 5 off the top is pretty encouraging because, I think we've actually we maybe played well one match this season, and that was against Spurs, and we didn't even win that. So to be at that sort of position in the table at this stage of the season, it's somewhat encouraging. I think if we can, we'll see how it kind of works with the new manager and how long it takes for his ideas to get across to the team. But potentially looking at getting into that top 4, obviously, sort of consolidating a position there, I think is sort of the minimum that we need to achieve, given how much we spent. So yeah, I mean, at this stage, could be worse, to be honest. Because I don't, like I said, I don't think our performances warrant much more than that. But yeah, shame about the Liverpool match being cancelled because that was, I think, going to be a good sort of litmus test. But yeah, overall, not been a good season, but not in an awful position.
Yeah, we would have smashed them. No,
sure.
Just joking. Just joking, Ali. Don't get upset. From a Liverpool point of view, I mean, how are you feeling? with obviously Nunes, and there's a slightly different style to what's been going on, and there's all sorts, of course, I guess being said about Liverpool and letting Mane go, and now where do they go from here? It's not quite clicking. What's been your evaluation so far?
Well, I mean, so far this season, it hasn't been what I expected and what all other Liverpool fans have expected. I think we started off very poorly, and I think, I mean, don't get me wrong, we will eventually, I reckon, and I hope so anyway, that we will eventually pick up and come back to the level that we're used to playing at. It may take some time. This may just be one of those seasons where we start off really slow, and I think that's going to be instrumental in the league. Having said that, if this situation of ours continues for a couple more games, 3 to 5 more games, where we don't play with that same pomp and that same confidence that we used to playing, the same style of play, then I think we won't be challenging. We won't be in the top 2. I think we will be probably most likely 3rd or 4th. I wouldn't be surprised with that. In regards to the Nunes situation, obviously he's a new player, and the whole Liverpool system is now changing to fitting a striker. Don't get me wrong. I think Nunes, from the few matches he's played so far, he's shown that, in my opinion, he's shown that he can prove to be some sort of nuisance. He can prove to be some sort of threat. But I think he's not used to, I think his style of play is not necessarily suited to the Premier League. Now, comparing that to Haaland, for example, obviously in the German league, it's not as physical as the Premier League, but Haaland's style of play is very much a physical. He's a brute of a player. So it was a natural fit to him. I think Nunes will take some time. And I think eventually Nunes will get into his element, and Liverpool will eventually, hopefully, be firing on all 4 cylinders again. But it will take some time. I think we're going to go through a period of adjustment. I don't think it's going to be as bad as before. I think it will be a short period of time. Klopp has the backing and the intelligence, and the whole club, the whole unity, the team chemistry is all supportive for each other. So they will ensure that the Klopp style of play and Nunes will fit into the system. So I think we will eventually come back into it.
Okay. I'm convinced. Let's then go into, I guess, Liverpool played yesterday, Ali, against Ajax. I mean, what was your read on that? A nicking victory, if you will. Matip, nicking victory with a header at the end.
Matip. Was it Matip? Okay.
Yeah. Matip, 89th minute. And look, I mean, Ajax are not a bad side, but you expect them at home to obviously beat them. And there's probably a little bit of worry around, hold on, as they got towards the end of the match, that we're not going to be able to get 3 points here. Did you watch the match? And how?
No, I wasn't. I was actually travelling back from work, so I was just following it on BBC Sport. But I mean, even though leaving it that late, considering after the first game, I thought the first game when we got absolutely annihilated, hammered, destroyed by Napoli, would have been the wake-up call. But I mean, don't get me wrong, a win is a win, and I'm always happy for it, as would any football fan. But it's the fact that you're leaving it a bit too late. That's the problem. And I think Liverpool really need to pick up the pace, because if they're not going to perform well in the league, at the very least perform in Liverpool's strength, which is Europe, which is the Champions League. I think Salah as well is someone who I love so much to bits. Like he's my guy. Like I'll always love and support him. But I think Salah is a player who this season needs to sort of like pick up the pace. Granted, he scored the first goal, yes, but he needs to up it now, because we're starting to see the effects of letting Mane go. And now, I mean, this is Salah's chance to prove to all the doubters wrong that it wasn't Mane who was carrying it. It was, Salah was doing his own thing. So hopefully with the remaining games, I mean, I actually forgot who's in our group. It was Napoli, Ajax, Liverpool, and Rangers, no?
Yeah.
Am I right in saying that? Rangers. Yeah, Rangers. I think we need to start to pick up the pace and hopefully beat Rangers, and then during the return leg at Anfield for Napoli, hammer Napoli, let them know that what they did was a one-off and they can't play like that against Liverpool. So hopefully we can come back. We can start dominating in Europe, like in the group stage and further later stages.
An eye for an eye.
Exactly. In fact, no, this time it won't just be an eye for an eye. It will be an eye for an eye, limb, head, everything, every limb of the body will be coming back for it.
This has become a very violent podcast. Right, on to Bayern Barcelona. So, I wanted to talk about Bayern Barcelona because Lewandowski obviously made his return to Bayern. And it was an unhappy return, of course, losing 2-0 in the end. And the first half, to be fair, Barca did outplay Bayern. They had some chances, and Lewandowski missed a few, which, I'm sure his former teammates were really happy about. But in the second half, they kind of sorted themselves out, and Bayern, that is, managed to win with Hernandez and Sane scoring. Again, I don't know if any of you watched this, but Nagelsmann, who's the 35-year-old coach, is under a bit of pressure generally. So that was quite an important win. And you don't really see many coaches that young around, so quite interesting. But did any of you watch the game?
No. I didn't watch any of the games yesterday, to be fair.
I watched
Aaron
the
Gandhi,
highlights.
right? Okay.
Just the highlights of the Bayern one.
Yeah, what did you think, Aaron, again, from what you watched?
I think the scoreline was quite flattering to Bayern, to be honest. Barca were really good in the first half. They were quite unlucky not to score. Lewandowski by his standards, missed a good chance. But it's like one of those things, if you're playing Bayern away and they get the first goal, then the game gets away from you. And especially after they got their goals quite close together. But yeah, I'm a bit unconvinced about Nagelsmann, to be honest. I don't think Bayern have that kind of invincibility about them anymore. And Barcelona, despite losing, are still looking really good, actually. And I think they'd go quite far in Europe.
Like, Ashley, do you manage to peek at the game at all?
Yeah, I only saw the highlights, but I heard a lot of good things. I mean, I saw the goals, but heard a lot of good things about Musiala, who we sold for, I think, 180 grand, wasn't it? Apparently, he wanted to go back to Germany, so it wasn't necessarily like we kind of just threw him away. But still,
it's like Bellingham now, right? Like Bellingham from Birmingham, and he's now at Dortmund. And he just scored against Man City, so that's some of that, eh? There's a couple of players There's a couple of players who have moved to Germany from the UK or England because they feel like they're not getting chances, and they kind of just they rip it up there. I mean, Sancho is a good example, right? I mean, he was at Man City before. But yeah, sorry, go on, Ash, you were saying.
But yeah, he looked super impressive. Sane's goal was really good. I think, if you score 2 goals in such quick succession, that can completely turn a match on its head. But I also just find it funny how Barca's defence has got Christensen and Alonso in. Like, how has that happened? And surely, I know Barca have a lot of financial issues, but surely they could do better than Alonso at left back. Apparently, he was getting exposed. But yeah, no, I mean, I touching on Nagelsmann as well. I think, if they do feel like they want to let him go, I think Tuchel's a ready-made replacement. It's kind of the natural fit for him to go back to Germany. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see that happen at some point in the future.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, isn't it? Alonso at left back. Weird one. I guess he's not their first choice. They've got Alba and who else have they got? They've got one other, haven't they? I've forgotten who it is now. But they do have another left back as well. But look, I mean, it's an interesting one. He should really be a backup, but Alba seems to be injured a fair bit, so probably doesn't help their case. I don't know. Weird. Christensen is not a bad player. I can see why they brought him in because he plays from the back. He's a good passer of a football, so that's fine. I get that. Technically, he's pretty sound. But yeah, Alonso's an interesting one. He's not a long-term solution at all either. He's a stopgap really to just, I guess, bolster the squad a little bit. But yeah, 2-0 to Bayern in the end, and obviously a good win. Inter Milan won 2-0 against Victoria Pleasant. Atletico lost to Bayern Leverkusen. I mean, that's pretty shocking, to be honest with you. I know it was Bayern Leverkusen were at home, but I would have thought Atletico might be able to nick something even if it was a draw. Porto got absolutely destroyed by Club Brugge at home as well. So Porto were at home and they got absolutely smashed by Club Brugge. I mean, that's embarrassing.
What was the score from that one?
4-0. 4-0. They got beaten 4-0 at home. Good luck. Have fun going home. And Frankfurt beat Marseille away as well. So Frankfurt were away to Marseille and they won 1-0. And we can talk about round up the Champions League matches from yesterday. Tottenham Sporting. So obviously Sporting winning 2-0 at home. What do you guys think? I know Ali's got loads of ideas on this, so I'll start with you first.
I think before I commentate on the games, I just want to say one thing, that I want to completely change, if possible, my predictions for this season. I know we said in a previous video about the group stages. I think I want to completely change it if possible. Okay, well, I mean, so far, from what we've seen for the first 2 weeks or so, absolute surprises in the Champions League. And it just goes to show the excitement of the tournament. The teams that you don't... it's like the European version of the FA Cup, in the sense that there's always surprise giant killings. Who would have thought Porto got beat by Club Brugge 4-0? Liverpool gets smacked 4-1 by Napoli. Napoli are a very good team, but to get beaten 4-1 again, and you're Liverpool, that's a huge thing. Tottenham to lose to, as much as we banter, we joke with Tottenham, we call them Bottom Hotspur. The fact is they conceded 2 very late goals, and they have an excellent and elite world-class manager in Conte. It's very surprising. There's no other way to describe it. It's just very surprising. No one expected it to happen. And hopefully that's going to add more excitement, more of an element of excitement to this tournament, and completely just change what the pre-made sort of ideas or judgments were as to who's going to go far and win it.
Yeah, very interesting to see them lose. Look, they were playing away, so fine, but I think it's more the fact they didn't manage to get anything from it in terms of at least pushing. As a pretty, I think, in the end, a pretty convincing win for Sporting, and they had their full strength side, so there's no kind of excuses there either. So just an interesting way to lose. Tottenham, it was relatively even, but Sporting just managed themselves well in the end. So good win for them. Tottenham, not quite sure where they're going to finish in the league as well now, and not because of that loss, but I'm not quite sure what's going to happen with them. But we'll see. He seems to be preferring Richarlison to Kulusevski, which is interesting. Don't know how I feel about that, but either way, we'll see how they get on as the season progresses. And in terms of results at the moment, matches at the moment, Benfica are beating Juventus 2-1 and they're away. Wow, 70 minutes gone. So that could be another giant killing, Benfica beating Juventus, considering Juve at home. Chelsea winning 1-0, Napoli 1-0 at Rangers. AC Milan won 3-1, good win for them. Giroud, there you go, on the score sheet. Good old Olivier. Me and Arangan and Ash know him very well. And Real Madrid drawing 0-0 against RB Leipzig. Interesting. Cool. Todd, I want to talk about the Chelsea owner because we were talking about this before. So he may as well touch upon it. Ash, do you want to start? Because I think you clearly have listened to a lot of him, and in terms of what his ideas are like, and we can I guess dive in.
I have no idea what he's got up his sleeve. Like the stuff he's coming out with about all-star games is just like, that's just scary, to be honest. Like, some things should never happen.
Premier League All-Stars. We're going to have the North versus South that Ali was talking about in the chat. That's what's going to happen. You know
that. I can't see that going too well for the South, to be honest. With Liverpool Man City and the team that they could produce. Mind you, we got Brighton, so I don't know. Maybe it'd be closer, but yeah, no. I think Boehly. I like his ambition in terms of what he wants to do at Chelsea. He wants to get a sporting director in, which I think is something we needed for a while. He wants kind of to do away with the sort of traditions at Chelsea where there was quite a big divide between aspects of the club, owner to manager, especially. And I think he found that Tuchel wasn't the right man to do that. But evidently, he sort of likes what he sees in Graham Potter, obviously a young English manager. And there's suggestions that, right, this is going to be some sort of long-term project, which with Chelsea, like that, you have to take that with, a kilogram of salt, because, that just never fits with the Chelsea sort of model. But perhaps that's what they're trying to change. So it remains to be seen, really, what he's got up his sleeve and what he does. But I think the general consensus of, for example, getting more feeder clubs, a bit like Man City do, really connecting the academy to the first team, those sort of things are quite encouraging to me as a Chelsea fan. But it remains to be seen, to be honest. And those plans for what he wants to see the Premier League become, I think the bottom 4 teams have like some sort of playoff to see who goes down, that sort of thing. I just think it's very unrealistic for the Premier League. But yeah, we'll see what sort of happens in the next couple of years, really, with Chelsea and Boehly.
Yeah, interesting. Arangan, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I was reading something, I think it was in the Daily Mail, The Guardian recently. It was like an interview that they'd done with David Dean. Do you remember the old Arsenal chairman who left ages ago? And he was saying that basically not enough owners, or not enough of the people that come in and buy these clubs, see it as something that doesn't belong to them. It's something that's been there for hundreds of years before them. It's just something they participate in. They see the league as an opportunity to kind of cash in, make money, kind of milk the fans, sell these kits that are worth like £100 every year, create super leagues and just kind of sell out. And you see it eventually, because ultimately it's a football that suffers, and then things are going great for a while, but you buy 1 or 2 of the wrong players, the results go, and then suddenly they're sacking managers, and it just kind of becomes a vicious cycle. And I just get that impression from Todd Boehly. And to be honest, a lot of the other managers, when the European Super League came out a while ago, you could just tell how out of touch they all were. And it's a shame, because Chelsea did have a history before Abramovich. I know that they've gone on to do a lot more since, but when you're chopping and changing things, it doesn't do the club any good eventually in the long term. But it just needs a bit more sensible ownership, to be honest.
Yeah, agreed.
We just conceded.
Live commentary here from the podcast. Well, at some point, we should do some commentary on the channel, but need to get people who actually want to do it. To be honest with you, people are not going to start swearing on screen because they're raging out.
I look like an Arab commentator anyways, just to go goal, header. I'll add that to it.
Oh God! You know what? If people want to do it, then we'll try and get people involved. It'll be funny. Right. Okay. Anyway, Ali, what's your thoughts on Todd? Toddy boy.
Todd, to be honest, I have mixed views on him, in the sense that, first of all, the sacking of Tuchel was an absolute disgrace. I'm not a Chelsea fan any longer, but I think the sacking of Tuchel is an absolute disgrace.
Do you say any longer? How many
clubs
are you supporting?
Another story for another time.
Oh wait, is this a story where you support every team that's winning?
Sorry, I have to leave the chat now. Sorry, bye.
Man City a couple of years ago, Liverpool now. What's going on, man? Was it Chelsea when we had Jose Mourinho?
No, I used to be a Chelsea. I was a Chelsea fan way before the Abramovich era. I went to my first game for John Terry made his first appearance, and I stuck through for like 22 something years. But
so what's
to be honest, I don't know. It's just I didn't like how Chelsea were run as a club. When Abramovich came in, don't get me wrong, obviously it was good to see that success come in. But when people started to say, "Oh, Chelsea, you bought success," I used to dismiss it, but as the years went by, I started to realize, even when amidst the peak of me supporting them, I just think to myself, that's actually a bit true, you know. And you see a knock-on effect with other clubs. Other clubs saw what Chelsea did with money and started pumping money, and it became very much, the sport as a whole became more money-minded. As much as I love football and I love watching certain games, I'm more of a, as cringe as this sounds, I'm more of a, you know, the spirit of the game. Like, to me, a football club is first and foremost a club for the fans. I understand the commercial aspect of it, but football, the essence of football, the spirit of football as a sport, irrespective of whatever team you support, is being destroyed. I mean, we see now managers being sacked left, right, and centre as easy as it is to breathe. We've seen the situation that Barcelona are in. We've seen how clubs are run, you know, where they get run into administration. It destroys it. But to answer your question about Todd Boehly, I think first and foremost, the sacking of Tuchel is an absolute disgrace. It's ridiculous. No matter what your views are, think about what Tuchel has achieved for Chelsea in this short period of time that he has been here. He's won Chelsea the Champions League with a squad that, at the start of that particular season under Frank Lampard, and with all due the utmost of respect to him, he's a legend of Chelsea, and not just Chelsea, but for the game. The squad that Chelsea had were nowhere near expected to win the Champions League that season. Yeah, Chelsea won it, and since then, Chelsea have gone on. I mean, last season they got to 2 cup finals, even though they lost it, but it's still an achievement in itself. Having said that, I think the idea of a North versus South All-Star game would be interesting. I mean, it's never happened before. I honestly, I think it would add like a new element. You know, you could put it on as a charity game or for a particular cause. I think it will be an element of, you know, it'll be an interesting game. It'll be an interesting game.
Should we change the ball to a American football and throw it for touchdowns?
Oh no! I'm going to get on to that. Don't worry. I will get on to that. Don't worry. But I think the bottom 4 tournament, I think that's stupid. That's ridiculous. That's the fun of having, you know, the English of any football team, especially the English legal system. English football system. How do I say legal?
And legal system. That's fun as well.
But I think that's ridiculous to say they should have a tournament. No, the only knockouts sort of or preliminary sort of tournament is when you do the winners of the championship. So from positions 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's how it always should be. I think with the in terms of what the English football system could model from the American sports system is having more of an input on terms of, you know, more of an emphasis on money pumped into the drafting system. So you know how they have drafts from like college or universities there, or like a round pick. I think they should have that, because not only would it encourage more and more young people to get into sport, I mean, it would also help, help clubs uncover hidden gems. I mean, we hear stories and horror stories of so much talent thrown away. Whereas if there was more of an emphasis in universities or on other colleges, other means for them to encourage people to get into sport, whether that is signing professional contracts with football clubs or signing professional contracts with individual-based sports like tennis or boxing or with rugby, whatever it may be, so be it. I would encourage that. And that's something that we could model from the American side of things. As for the halftime show, I think that's stupid, ridiculous. No one really cares for it. I mean, the American football, what? I mean, I don't even watch the Super Bowl for a reason. A 45-minute game goes on for like 3 hours for what? Adverts. We hate adverts on YouTube, let alone during a football game or sporting event. I think that would be a ridiculous and, quite frankly, a toxic idea for it to allow it to manifest and enter the game.
Yeah,
that's
I don't want. My 2 cents. 2 cents because we're American now.
Can I say how funny it would be, like, if you had a draft, so you had someone like drafted from like Warwick University to Chelsea or something. I thought
a person from Warwick or Loughborough could end up being a top player. Who knows?
Yeah, it's true. And then also the whole All-Star game, although I don't really want it, that could be quite a fun podcast episode to like create a like the best northern team and best southern team. I think that'd be quite fun.
Yeah, it'll be very good to see. It'll be a very good game. But hold on, you know when I said previously in the chat about the North versus South, that wasn't based on clubs. That was also like where the players are originally from. So technically, you could have a player plays for Chelsea, but could be from like Newcastle or Manchester or Liverpool.
Yeah. I remember. I don't know. It's an interesting one. Like I just think tinker with it too much and it becomes a bit of a joke. It's not American football, it's football. I get that he's trying to make it more exciting, but then there's already so many eyeballs on football. That's not to say it can't be improved, but it's not like football's struggling for viewership. In a way, I actually think there's probably too much football on. I don't know what you guys think, but I mean, trying to schedule a podcast episode is a nightmare because there's football going on every single day. It's like, how can we cover it without football going on at the same time? It's like, no, you can't. So, I don't know. It's intriguing. Like, I think the halftime show is just, that's just a massive no-no. You can't have like a halftime show. I mean, that would just be ridiculous. Can you imagine like links coming on for halftime advert? And it's just like, who cares? Who cares? And then what are we going to have? We're going to have singers going on, like domestic singers going on, like between halftime or something. I don't know. It's bizarre, but I'm not quite sure exactly how that would fit. But Todd is doing his best at Chelsea. We need a sporting director. I think it was Ash that was saying that. And at Chelsea, we definitely need a sporting director. So if he can get us a sporting director, then I'm a happy man because I'm not sure why we don't have one anyway. We should have had one ages ago. I think it was Man United didn't have one. And there was a massive hoo-ha about that. But we still don't have one. So I don't know what's going on with that. But hopefully we sort that out pretty soon because we need someone to take the club forward, have a direction. We also need to have a head of recruitment. And like, I feel like Todd's trying to do it all at the moment. And it's like, but you don't know what you're talking about. As in like, this isn't your forte. Your forte is the business, not sacking or not like picking up certain players. Like he wanted Ronaldo, which is like, you're not playing Football Manager, right? Like this is real life. And like, if you want to bring him in, fine, but how does he fit in? How many years does he have left? Realistically, like how would it work for Chelsea in terms of forget about just thinking about it from it's great to have Ronaldo, he's going to sell shirts. Think about it from how is he going to help the club succeed? Does he fit? I'm not sure he does. So that's an example of it, I guess. But yeah, interesting one. I don't really have much else to say, to be honest with you, because we have the games coming up this weekend. The Champions League games are nearly finished, so unless we get some last-minute goals, which can always happen.
I think
Manchester
Haaland
City
scored.
Yeah, Haaland has scored. So Manchester City are 2-1 up. He scored in the 84th minute, and wonder if he celebrated. Probably not. They're 2-1 up after being 1-0 down. Interesting. Chelsea are 1-1.
2-1 up.
Yeah, PSG. Yeah, I mean, they should be smashing
struggling against them.
They should be absolutely destroying them. Like, that is a joke.
Do you guys think if Chelsea draw this match with having not yet played Milan, getting out the group is surely going to be difficult?
We should beat them at home. We should beat them at home.
It might come down to goal difference.
Oh God!
Otherwise, we'll go to the Europa League and play against Arsenal.
May as well I'd rather we finish last. To be honest with you, I'd rather the Europa League.
We'll make the Champions League and the league this season.
Hey,
yeah, it's true.
I don't mean to be rude, but the Europa League is just a waste of time. Genuinely, I feel like it's just a waste of time. What is the point? Like, as in for Chelsea, that is. For Arsenal, I don't know. Maybe Aaron Gann's really looking forward to it every Thursday, but I'm just joking, Aaron Gann.
Listen, we've got to get this European Cup one way or another.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Well, the thing is, actually, the worst thing was that before the Europa League, so when it was the UEFA Cup, if you won the UEFA Cup, you got granted automatic entry into the Champions League. Then when they changed it originally to the Europa League, you didn't get entry. The Champions League, which was like, this is the most pointless thing ever, right? Because surely you get rewarded for that. But now they've changed in the last few years to, if you win it, you get entry to the Champions League. It's like, that should have been it all along. But that's the only good thing. Like, for example, if Chelsea is struggling in the league, then it's like, okay, we can win the Europa League potentially, and then you get entry, which is like a bit of a golden ticket. Obviously, it's the difference between a few million in terms of revenue. So, yeah, some big numbers there. But I don't know. Are we surprised that Chelsea is struggling at the moment? No. 1-1, but How many minutes gone? 84 minutes, man. We are struggling like hell. Adamu, hey, hold on. Is that... No, that's not. I thought that was someone who used to play for Chelsea. That's not him. I was going to say it's like... that would be carnage if it was. I would be really upset. Aubameyang got the assist. Good for him. So that's good. Benfica still being Juventus 2-1. Flip it now. Carnage. Anyway, is there anything you guys want to touch upon? No, there's sad faces, nodding of heads. Before we then wrap up, should we quickly do a little bit of a quick fire predictions for the weekend? Or and Friday as well. So I'll go around from Ash, Arangan, then Ali, then I'll finish off. So Villa Southampton.
1-1.
1-1.
1-1 as well.
0-0. Forest Fulham.
2-1 Fulham.
2-1 Fulham, I think.
1-0 Fulham.
1-0 Forest. At home. Come on, Forest. Right. Saturday. Wolves, Man City.
3-0 City.
Wow.
3-1 City.
3-1 City.
Diego Costa to score for Arangan. Right?
And then
1-1
Haaland to get angry and score in the second half or something.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to go 1-1. Newcastle, Bournemouth.
2-0 Newcastle.
3-0 Newcastle.
2-0 Newcastle as well, yeah.
2-1 to Newcastle. Tottenham, Leicester.
2-1 Tottenham.
1-0 Leicester.
Ooh, savage. 1-0.
2-2.
1-0, sorry.
No, sorry.
2-2.
2-2, I would say.
2-2, okay. Brentford, Arsenal.
2-0 Arsenal.
3-0.
Yeah, 2-0 Arsenal.
Hang on, you mean 3-0 Brentford, right?
No, we've already been there before.
No. I was like, 4-0 Brentford now. I'm going to go. 2-1 Arsenal. So the last game is Everton. Is there one on Monday? There isn't. There's the last one, yeah. Everton, West Ham. Ash?
We'll go 2.
2-1 West Ham.
Where's the game being played? West Ham's or Everton's ground?
Everton.
Oh, no, Everton, yeah, it makes sense. Okay, yeah. 2-0 West Ham.
I'm going to go 1-0. 1-0. Right, okay. That's all the scores. Let's see how the matches finish as we've been talking. Well, we're into the 90th minutes now. So City 2-1 up still. Napoli 2-0 against Rangers. Chelsea 1-0. Real Madrid had 2-0 up against RB Leipzig. So that's how they've kind of secured victory there. Asensio putting them beyond. Paris Saint-Germain 3-1 up. So they're beyond as well. Neymar getting a goal. So unless we get some late drama, we're going to be ranting about Chelsea later next week, Ash. So can't wait for that. But yeah, thanks very much, guys, for tuning in. Appreciate it. And thank you, Ash, Ali, and Ariane, for being on as always. Great to have a chat about all things football and Todd. And we will see you guys very, very soon. Remember to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, leave a rating or review as well. And we'll see you soon.